Next is how to get your borrower to call you back and re-engage with you. One thing that does happen, and it applies to even me too, is there'll be times where we have to pitch a deal and sometimes we just don't close it on that call. And so now we're required to call them back. The problem is though, is that even though we call them back and leave messages, we don't ever hear back from them. That ever happen to you guys? So there's a method to do a specific script or voice message strategy that's gonna help you increase the return calls. Number one is understand that every voicemail you leave should be followed up with an email and a text message. So it's always important, you gotta be proactive to get that SMS consent right up front. Do your best to do that because that's gonna be a third avenue of trying to make connection with the prospect. But the reason why is because when you leave a voice message, why most don't get answered back is because either there's too much information on the voicemail or you're leaving it wrong, triggering different reactions from them. So for example, one of the most common ways to leave a voicemail is, hey Jim, this is Daniel with New American Funding. I just wanted to follow up with you to see if you had time to look at the options that I emailed you, or if you had time to look at the disclosures, or if you had time to think about the 30-year fix and the cash out and the monthly savings. Anyways, give me a call back, right? So you're giving them too much information, but you're also leaving it up to them to just say no. Whereas if I dropped the voicemail and I left a little bit more kind of curiosity or entice them to give me a call back because I'm using curiosity in my favor as leverage. So I would leave a message as something like this. Hey Jim, this is Daniel. I just emailed you an important message. Please reply back when you get a chance. If you can't call me direct at 949 blah, 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 simply reply back to the email. Let me know you got it. That's it, right? So the reason for that is because you want them to check their email and then give them an out to either reply to the email or call you, but you don't want to give any information out. It's always something like, hey, something came up. And so I would always use this line that worked really well and say, hey Jim, this is Daniel. Hey, you know what? My manager and I were looking at your loan file and he found something I completely missed. I want to go over it with you though. So I can either email it or I can go over the details with you by phone. Just reply back to my email if you can't call me at 949-267-2144, right? Or call me and I'll go over the details with you. I'll be on standby until I hear from you. And again, you're creating that curiosity. So they're like, okay, well, what did the manager find? So when they do call you back, all you're doing is just getting that engagement. And so when they do call you back, you should by then already know what they didn't like, right? So because you get that feeling and they may even told you, so yeah, this guy didn't buy because he wanted to think about it, or he didn't like the rate, or he didn't like the cost. And so when they call back, our manager found an opportunity where they can either remove all the closing costs or they can get a lower interest rate. Now, when you go over the details of that, it's very important that you figure out what the monthly payments are. So the way I sell points is I don't tell them you can get 2.75 by paying 2.5% down. I don't say that. What I do is I sell it by payment. And so in other words, I'll say, okay, you can get your payment down to here, and this would be your loan amount. In other words, so if I worked out the 2.75 and I knew it was 2.5 points into the loan amount, I sell them on the payment. I say, but your loan amount's gonna be here. But if you wanted the par rate, which like, let's say 3.5, I say this would be your payment and this would be your loan amount. So I get them comfortable with the payment and the loan amount first. And the reason for that is because when they witness that, they're either gonna like the monthly payment, which then is gonna root to the question, well, what's the interest rate on it? Well, the interest rate on this is 2.75. You're gonna catch them on either one of them. So they're either gonna like the interest rate and say, I want that one. And you could tell that they're based on ego, right? But they're not making the decision of buying down the points yet. You get them comfortable with the result and get them comfortable with the monthly payment and the loan amount first, and then you close them on the specifics later.